Hey guys, today we are gonna talk about how to become full stack developer. Now there are a lot of aspiring full stack developers out there, so I'm sure this video will help you all out. So here are the topics that we are going to be discussing. So first we will see what full stack development is, who is a full stack developer, role and responsibilities of full stack developer, full stack development roadmap, and salary of a full stack developer. Alright, now what exactly is full stack development? Now consider a web application, let's say Instagram. So every time you refresh the page, new images are loaded. So this is what the user experience. New images are loaded onto his feed, but what exactly happens behind? The scene is that the backend fetches new images from the Instagram servers and these images are then loaded onto your Instagram feed. The app is so easy to use and leaves the user extremely satisfied. In case of any application, there's always the front end, the back end, and the database. So the process of building all of these aspects for an application is called full stack development. So I hope you understand what exactly full stack development is. So moving on, let's see who a full stack developer is. A full stack developer is now basically works with both front end and the back end of an application. He has to be familiar with languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also one or more backend frameworks like Node.js and Python. Now these developers have got all the web development skill to build website and application from start to finish. Next is responsibilities. Now the first responsibility is developing the front end. So as discussed, they must be able to develop the user interface for the user with the help of HTML and CSS. Next up is design the backend. Now this is also the most crucial part of an app development. They should be able to design robust backend architecture to ensure the smooth functioning of fetching and updation. Next up is to design database and server. Now databases and servers must be resilient to any outage and must maintain consistency. Next up is cross-platform compatibility. Now depending on the platform, there could be some discrepancy and alteration in the functioning of an application. It's crucial to make sure that the application behave accordingly on all these platforms. Next up is developing APIs depending on the plant architecture. The developer must be able to develop APIs. The application must also be responsive and interactive and keep the user completely engaged, and lastly it should be meet all the technical and consumer requirements. So these were the few responsibilities of a full stack developer. Moving on, let me explain to you a simple roadmap of how to go about become a full stack developer. So this roadmap basically shows you the prerequisites and skills one should have to become a successful full stack developer. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin with tools and software. Now the first and the most rudimentary requirement is a text editor. Now the most widely used editor is VS Code. It is free, open source and can be used to code in different platforms like Windows, Mac OS and Linux. Next up is a web browser. So you can either use Firefox or Chrome, but Chrome is highly preferred. Now also could need a few editor extension and VS Code has few of them. Some of them could be live, SAS compiler and live server. Moving on, you need to have a good hold on HTML and CSS. HTML is a markup language that is used to define the content that appear on your web page. The developer can incorporate images, text, videos depending on the requirement. Moving on to CSS, it is basically a style sheet which is used to decorate your entire application. It is used to define the appearance of the content, say in terms of shape, color, size, spacing, etc. Next up is JavaScript. Now this is the most widely used front-end language and enhances the interaction with the web page. Now you might want to brush up your knowledge on simple concepts like arrays, function, object and loop. You can also learn ES6 features like callbacks, promises, async await, DOM manipulation and event, fetch API and JSON. All of these are required. when you are making use of different JavaScript frameworks and libraries, so I'd recommend you brush up your knowledge on all of these topics. React, Angular, Vue, and jQuery are some of the JavaScript libraries and frameworks that one can use. All of the topics that we discussed earlier, be it ES6 features or basic concepts, they come in very handy when you are using these frameworks. Among React, Vue, and Angular over the last couple of years, React has gained immense popularity, followed by which Vue is also being widely used. Now Angular has seen downward curve over the past few years, so depending on your requirement you can choose one of these frameworks. Next up is version control. Now Git and GitHub are the most widely used version control system. Now Git basically helps you to manage your project files. Git basically keeps track of the entire history of things that the user is working on. So it makes sure that it allows the user to backtrace and see what his work. Then moving on to GitHub, it is basically web-based service for version control using Git. Now the user can also look into other people's code, identify issues or errors, and also even propose changes. Now this comes in extremely helpful when you are working in a team. Let's move on ahead and look at some of the backend environment. Now the most popularly used environment is Node.js. This is basically an open source class platform runtime environment that allows developers to create server-side tools and applications in JavaScript. Node.js is typically used to create real-time applications with two-way connection wherein both the client and servers can communicate and exchange data without any hassle. Now I really recommend you have a basic knowledge on command line as well, that is knowledge in basic command line like npm, that is node package manager, is also essential. So this was a simple overview on Node.js. Moving on to other backend language, there's Python and the most commonly used framework, that is Django. Python is the easiest programming language out there and I'm sure everybody will agree with me. With this, so it also offers many libraries and frameworks for different technologies. So when it comes to backend in full stack development, Django is a clear winner. Now it is a high-level Python framework that enables rapid development of websites. It is also free and open source and has a huge active community of users. So I would really suggest you get your hands on Django and work on it. Moving ahead, let's look at the salary of full stack developer. Now, according to PayScale, the average salary of a full stack developer in India is around 5 lakh and 90,000 rupees per annum. The average salary of a full stack developer in the US is around 75,000 US dollar per annum. I hope you found it informative. If you have any doubt or queries, let me know in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. So thank you so much for being here. I'll come up with new content soon. Until then, keep learning and stay tuned to Classic Programmer.